Hey, it's Ed here. Hey, I want to talk about fentanyl. Driving through downtown Spokane, you see people using drugs right out in the open, and it made me think that we need to talk about fentanyl, because fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than morphine. Just think about that. 100 times more powerful. And then there's Carfentanyl. Carfentanyl is another synthetic, and it is 100 times more powerful than regular fentanyl. But think about it this way: 3 milligrams of fentanyl can kill you, opposed to, or compared to, 30 milligrams of morphine or heroin. That's huge. That's just a tiny little flake of fentanyl, and most people don't know where it's coming from. Well, we're getting a lot of it across the border. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 years, at the border, they've seized 10,000 pounds of fentanyl last year, and already this year they've seized about 9,000 pounds. And think about it. How many fentanyl pills got through? They call it the gotaways, the people crossing the border, the drug cartels. Man, they're having a field day down there. They're making money hand over fist because they're trafficking people and drugs across the border. And we don't even know how many have gotten away. They're saying since Biden got in office, there's been about 5 million people cross the border, including the people that they think are gotaways. So the people that they stopped, processed, and released back into our community with no consequences. How many of those people that got away were carrying drugs? It's hard to imagine. And now here we sit in Spokane, Washington, and people think, well, Spokane, it's a small town. There's probably not much fentanyl here. Well, turns out it's a corridor for trafficking fentanyl. It's a relationship to I-90 and then relationship to the Canadian border. The fentanyl, the Spokane County Department of Health records show over 186% increase in fentanyl-related deaths in between 2020 and 2021. That's here in Spokane. And there's been a 1,233% increase in fentanyl-related overdoses since 2017. So fentanyl's big in Spokane. You just don't see it. I mean, you see people on the street using drugs, but you don't know what kind of drugs. But they smoke it, they inject it. Most people smoke fentanyl, and they inject heroin. But so many people are dying from it. And the problem is, with the heroin, these cartels are mixing in a little fentanyl in their heroin, and you don't even know it. You've bought heroin off the street, and now you're using fentanyl. It's a huge problem here in Spokane and all across the United States. And we're not doing a whole lot about it. We're certainly not closing the border so it quits pouring into the United States. I mean, pouring in. There's been enough fentanyl seized this year to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States. That's a lot of fentanyl. And it just continues to flood our streets and kills millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. There was 120,000 overdose deaths last year. How many will there be this year? And a lot of those overdose deaths are fentanyl related. So we need to do something, change it. We need to bring awareness of fentanyl on our streets, because I don't hear many people talking about it. A lot fewer than should be talking about it, that's for sure. I don't hear our city leaders talking about it, our mayors, our governors, but we need to step up and address this problem. We need to shut down the border, and we need to make it impossible for heroin and fentanyl and all of the other drugs to flood our streets. It's killing people.